Ever just walk into a casino and like feel this total shift? It's like you've stepped into another world with the flashing lights and the sounds. Even the air feels different.
Oh, absolutely. It's totally immersive.
Right.
All your senses are engaged. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement as a guest.
Totally. But have you ever stopped to think about the people who make that whole experience possible? The ones working behind the scenes to keep everything running smoothly?
You mean like the dealers and pit bosses?
Them too, but I'm actually talking about someone even more behind the scenes gaming inspectors.
Ah, the guardians of fair play. Most people probably don't give them a second thought.
Exactly. But they're crucial to the whole operation. I've been checking out RoleCatcher's career guide on gaming inspectors, and it's wild how much responsibility they have.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
Well, for starters, they're the ones making sure all the games are fair and that all the equipment is working properly. You know, no funny business with the roulette wheels or anything.
Right, gotta make sure those cards are shuffled properly and all that. So they're like the referees of the casino.
Exactly. They're kind of like investigators, too. They look into any suspicious activity or discrepancies, and they even handle customer complaints.
Wow, so they need some serious people skills on top of everything else.
Oh, absolutely. And, get this according to the guide, 55% of their job is just monitoring.
55%. Just watching. That sounds kind of boring.
You'd think so, right?
Yeah.
But imagine trying to stay focused on multiple games at once, with all the distractions of a casino floor. The lights, the sounds, the crowds. It takes some serious concentration.
Okay, yeah, I can see how that would be way more intense than it sounds. So you got to be able to tune out the noise and zero in.
Precisely. Speaking of tuning things out, the guide doesn't sugarcoat the work environment either. It's noisy, crowded, and full of sensory overload.
Yeah, that's not exactly my ideal office setting. You got to have a certain tolerance for chaos to thrive in that kind of environment.
For sure. And it's not a static environment either. The industry is constantly evolving with new games, new technology.
Right, like online gaming and all that. I bet that's a whole other ballgame for inspectors.
Totally. They have to stay up to date on all the latest trends and tech to make sure everything's on the up and up.
So a gaming inspector can't just rest on their laurels. They have to be a constant learner.
Exactly. They need that thirst for knowledge and a willingness to adapt to new challenges, which honestly makes the job sound kind of exciting, don't you think?
I can see the appeal for sure. It's like being a detective in a constantly changing landscape. But speaking of challenges, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the downsides.
Right, because every job has them. What does the guide say about the less glamorous side of being a gaming inspector?
Yeah, no job's perfect, right? So spill the beans. What are some of those downsides the guide mentions?
Well, it's definitely not all glitz and glamour, let's put it that way. The guide's pretty upfront about the fact that it's a high-stress gig, long hours too, and you got to be comfortable dealing with some potentially sticky situations.
Makes sense. I mean, you're dealing with people and their money. Emotions can run pretty high in a casino, I imagine. You got it. And the stakes are high, literally. So you got to have thick skin and be able to stay cool under pressure.
True, true. And I bet dealing with difficult customers is a whole other skill set in itself.
Oh, for sure. You got to be a master at de-escalation. And on top of all that, the guide mentions another potential downside. Secondhand smoke.
Ah, right, of course. It's a casino after all. Can't really escape that, can you?
Not really. It's just something to keep in mind, especially if you're sensitive to that kind of thing.
For sure, health comes first. So we've talked about the daily grind and the work environment, but what about the long game? Is there room to climb the ladder in this field?
Absolutely. The guide actually lays out a clear career path. You can start as a gaming assistant and work your way up to senior gaming inspector.
Oh, wow. So there's a real progression. It's not just a dead-end job.
Not at all. And along the way, you're gaining new skills, taking on more responsibility. It's a continuous learning process.
I like it. So what kind of stuff do you learn as you move up the ranks?
Well, you start by assisting with inspections, making sure players are following the rules. Then, as you progress, you might start conducting your own investigations, training new staff, even working with management on developing policies.
So it's not just about being the rule enforcer. You get to shape how things are done, too.
Exactly. And I bet for someone like you who's always hungry for knowledge, that kind of growth potential would be a major draw.
Totally. I mean, who doesn't love leveling up?
Right. And speaking of leveling up, the guide actually recommends getting some hands-on experience early on, even if it's just an entry-level position at a casino.
Makes sense. Get your foot in the door. Learn the ropes.
Exactly. It's like an apprenticeship for the world of gaming. And let's be real, for someone like you who likes to dive in and get their hands dirty, There's no better way to learn, right?
Oh, absolutely. I'm all about that hands-on experience. But let's be real for a sec. Getting your foot in the door these days usually means navigating the black hole of online job applications.
Ugh, don't even get me started on those things. It's like sending your resume into the void.
I know, right? You spend all this time crafting the perfect resume and cover letter, and then you just cross your fingers and hope it actually gets seen by a human being.
And don't even get me started on those applicant tracking systems. It's like they're designed to weed out all but the most perfectly optimized resumes.
Okay, so you get it. The struggle is real. But you know what gives me a glimmer of hope? RoleCatcher's AI features. It's like they've cracked the code or something. I was reading their Beat the Automated Recruiter thing, and it blew my mind. They've got this whole system.
Seriously, it's kind of genius, actually. They use AI to analyze job descriptions.
Okay, so it's like it reads the job posting for you.
Basically, but it goes way deeper than that.
Right.
It figures out the specific skills and keywords that the hiring manager is looking for.
So you're not just throwing spaghetti at the wall hoping something sticks. You're like using a laser-guided meatball launcher.
Exactly. And then it helps you tailor your resume and even practice your interview answers so you can hit those keywords naturally, without sounding like a robot yourself.
That's huge. It's like having a secret weapon in the job hunting game.
Right. And it's not just about gaming either. This AI stuff can be a game changer for any field, especially if you're like me and you dread writing cover letters.
Tell me about it. But, it's funny. Thinking about all the skills a gaming inspector needs, the attention to detail, the pressure, the whole 9 yards, it makes you wonder what other jobs they'd be good at.
Right. It's like those skills could translate to so many different fields. You're not just stuck in a casino.
Exactly. So, give me an example. What else could a gaming inspector do?
Well, off the top of my head, what about event management? Think about it. You're dealing with big crowds, got to keep things running smoothly, probably under a lot of pressure.
Whoa. You're right. I never thought about it that way,
Right.
but it makes total sense.
Right. And you'd need that same eye for detail, whether you're checking roulette wheels or setting up a concert stage.
Plus, you've got to be able to handle any curveballs that come your way.
Yeah.
And we all know there are always curveballs.
Always. So yeah, gaming inspector to event planner. Totally doable. And who knows what other possibilities are out there. It's all about thinking outside the box.
I love that. So to wrap things up, what's the one thing we want our listeners to take away from this deep dive?
I'd say if you're intrigued by the world of casinos, but maybe not sure about being a dealer or a pit boss, don't rule out a career as a gaming inspector. It's more than just watching cards and chips. It's a dynamic job with real growth potential.
And who knows? The skills you learn might just launch you into your dream career, even if it's not at a casino. So until next time, keep exploring those hidden career paths.
Yeah.
You never know what you might discover.
Absolutely. And remember, RoleCatcher is here to help you every step of the way.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's all the time we have for today. See you in the next deep dive.